Frankie C. Always good to catch up with you, my man. Let's start with the easiest question of the day for you. What's the latest on Domas? Do we expect him to play tonight?
Oh, he's a full go. He's a full go. And, it's good news because that's getting you off on the right foot because birds are chirping into my ears saying there's a curse that might need to be broken tonight.
Yeah,
I have some family coming too, and they want to see a win, so hopefully we can break that curse. So, Domas, the team's being bit by a bug right now. It's going around. He was out there today at shoot-around, looked good, smile on his face. He was chucking half-court shots at the end, looked like he had plenty of energy. He's good to go.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do we know if that bug has worked its way out of the locker room, or is it still making its rounds?
I think it's taken some of its last victims right now. It started with Kevin Huerter a week or so ago, had a little, he was under the weather as well against the Rockets and missed a couple of games. And today we had Dellavedova, Len, Sabonis were back at practice, but Terrence Davis was out. So you have to hope that it stopped here, but it's that time of year where bugs go around, and these are all non-COVID illnesses, obviously. So that's thankful that it's nothing too serious, but never a fun time, especially when you're having to play with a shallow bench. And the Kings luckily have their guys back tonight, most of them, and they get to have Domantas Sabonis for a tough game against an up-and-coming Thunder team, and it's going to be a nice test for the Kings these next two games.
Frankie Cartoscelli with us here, Cattles and Rami, Sactown Sports. You just mentioned the bench, Frankie. This team is 6-2 over their last 8 5-game win streak. Chance to get another dub tonight at Golden 1. But one player that's been struggling is Malik Monk. Monk is shooting 28.5% from three since December 1st. Is it officially time to be concerned about him?
No, I mean, he had a stretch where he struggled earlier in the season, and I think it was about late November into early December he had a rough stretch, and he worked his way out of it. I mean, these are kind of what guards go through. Kevin Huerter went through a streak where he was shooting around 20% from three as well, about a 10, 12-game streak, and that's what these shooters go through. The best way to get out of these streaks is to shoot out of it, and that's what Kevin Huerter said. The best way to get out of these funks, you kind of got to play through it and just hope shots start to fall. And Malik Monk is somebody who's been in the league for 6 years now, and I think he's been through stretches like these before. This is what happens for all players, really, and it's hard to play well all of the time, and even for the best players, you can't play well every night. Every guy has a bad night, but some guys have bad stretches, and Malik right now, he's finding ways to create even though his shot isn't falling. The assists are there. That's something that makes him so valuable to this team, the fact that he's not one-dimensional. But you have to hope, the shots fall sooner than later, and you'll have one of those games sooner or later. I think that he pumps in 25, 27 points, but something he has to work through.
We've seen Mike Brown with the backup center role. It's been a revolving door, and Richaun Holmes, after a very quick look early in the season, has not gotten another shot at it. We saw him pressed into action a couple nights ago with Domas out with the bug. Any inclination that maybe Richaun Holmes earned another shot at that backup center role with what he showed on a couple nights ago?
It's tough to say. I think that he does. I mean, it's tough, though, because the Richaun Holmes we see as a starter is not the Richaun Holmes we see as a bench player. I think he's more comfortable in a starting role. What we saw last game, 7 for 7 from the field, I think he had 14 and 11. That was a regular Richaun Holmes night a year or so ago, and I think that's just where he feels more comfortable. And coming off the bench and playing spot minutes, I think he only plays around 9, 10 minutes, maybe 12 when he's backing up Sabonis, because Sabonis almost plays 40 minutes a night. It's kind of hard to get into a groove and get comfortable. And I think Mike Brown likes what he sees more from Chimezie Metu in that role because of his athleticism and the fact he's been rebounding the basketball more consistently. He's a lob threat. I just think Richaun is more suited for an offense and for a team where he can start and get 30 minutes a night. But I do think from a talent standpoint, he's the Kings' second best big. I think it's just a matter of fit, and right now he doesn't really fit with this system. But Mike Brown, he's been known to switch things up, and I know that the Kings have a back-to-back. Maybe we see some different rotations on these back-to-back nights. The Kings obviously have a game tomorrow against 76ers who have some length. They have arguably the best center in the league in Joel Embiid, or second best center in the league behind Jokic. But it's going to be interesting to see what Mike Brown does, because Richaun Holmes is somebody that I think is, like I said, the second best big, but right now just not really a place to put him.
Frankie Cartoscelli from Sactown Sports is with us here on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Frankie, you just mentioned, Holmes talked about him. I think all of us understand and know that this team needs a legit backup center, backup big that does fit the system better. But I wanted to ask you about another need. Is it with the up and down kind of bench production, is it time for Monty here in the next couple of weeks to try to find that scoring wing, a guy that maybe could be the 3-and-D wing to back up Barnes and Keegan?
Well, that'd be great. I mean, that'd be great if they find someone who can be a 3-and-D threat. I mean, obviously, I think that defense is going to be number one on the list for Monty. You have to find someone that can bring some kind of defensive punch. And they brought in a guy like Dozier, who I think the Kings like him, and maybe they'll start plugging him more here and there. They have another 10-day deal with him. But I think defense has to be number one. If they score, that's gravy. But I do think that they have enough scoring. I mean, you're seeing guys like Trey Lyles come off the bench, and they're scoring 10-plus points per game. Trey Lyles has been incredible over the past 10, 12 games. I think he's shooting around 50% from the field and from three. And Malik Monk, as we talked about, he's going through a rough stretch, but he's your guy. He's your sixth man of the year candidate, and when he's going, there's not many players in the league off the bench that can score more. But if you can find someone that can do both, that's great. But I think that Monty McNair is looking for a 3 or a 4 that can play really good defense, and obviously that goes hand in hand with the 5. I think they need 2 positions, in my opinion. They need a 3 or 4 and a 5 because they really need to shore up that depth. They're really going to make a run. And the fact that they're sitting here, we're almost to February. The Kings are the 3 seed in the West. They have a 3-4 game lead in the Pacific Division. We're getting to a point where it's going to be very disappointing if the Kings don't finish in the top 6. And I think that's a very realistic thing that can happen. So in order for that to happen, then they need to shore up the defense.
Frankie, have the players in the locker room been informed of the Cattle's curse, of its implications, and that Nick will be in the building tonight?
I have not informed them. Maybe I should. Maybe they'll put
No. I said yesterday, the only way curses work is if players know about them and it's in their head when they go out. That's the only way it affects their performance. Nick brought it up to Jay Triano yesterday. I was like, dude, what are you doing? We don't need them knowing that this is a thing and that you're going to be there. That's how it affects them. So if they haven't heard about it, Frankie, let's just keep that on the download. They don't even need to know Nick is in the building tonight.
Well, we'll keep it quiet, but at the same time, Nick knows he's a Red Sox guy. You talk about the curse enough, it's going to get broken eventually. We have to hope that doesn't take 84 years or 84 games for that to happen for Nick's sake. But, let's really hope it doesn't happen. But I have to say, if they lose tonight, I don't know, Nick. You might need to go. I don't know. I don't really know if you have to get
far away
and bring it to the game. You have to figure something out.
He needs to stay far away is what needs to happen if they lose another one tonight.
Imagine if it took 84 games.
That would be into the playoffs.
You know the GIF with the old lady? What is it? 84 years?
84 years?
84 years.
Yeah.
That would be me. Frankie, I would say we appreciate you, but we really don't. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Okay. See you tonight.
See you tonight, Frankie C. There he goes, Frankie Cartoscelli on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. You know what I realized the other day? And by the way, I do think that we need to look closer at Malik Monk. This isn't like a 2-week thing.
No, you're right. When you brought it up the other day, I went back and looked at his game log, and it's this is a long time going.
28.5% since December 1st from 3-point land.
Yeah,
we're almost 2 months deep. Anyway, you know what I realized?
What's that?
When I told everybody
they're still looking at me?
I told everybody that I wasn't PD when I did that. Right, I was no longer PD. I thanked literally everybody with the station, other than Frankie.
How dare you, sir?
How dare you? I was like, I can't, and I didn't mean it.
Our King's Cowboy.
And I didn't mean it.
Wow.
You even think Charles in digital over Frankie C.
I know. I thanked somebody who doesn't even exist.
You thanked an imaginary
before I
person
thanked Frankie.
before you thanked Frankie.
Frankie probably took it personally too, and he should.
Wow.
I see him tonight. We might fight.